another episode of Rift News, your trusty source of League news you decided to watch solely because of Mordekaiser. And because Mordekaiser has one of the richest, if not the richest lore in the entirety of League of Legends. Let's blitz through all the other less important news, so we can get right into Mordekaiser. So let's get on it. When it comes to live servers, if you are still grinding missions for tokens and prestige points, remember that you only have a couple of days left. But although the Trials event is coming to an end, you will be able to spend your tokens for a couple of weeks after that. As usual, the tokens don't instantly disappear when the event ends. Also, it seemed like Warband might actually win the event, but the last week's results shifted in favor of the United, with Warband being second, Council third, and the Faceless fourth. That's pretty much it for live servers. Nothing is really happening there right now. But speaking of things that went live, Riot finally released the physical version of War Mother on the merch store. But the funny thing is that it was released on every kind of store, including the US and the EU Northeast stores. But you still can't buy it on EU West. I'm not sure if it is a bug or if it is intended, but you probably have to get it on Amazon instead. Now let's quickly cover two interesting posts from last week, so we can drive your anticipation for Mordekaiser even higher. First of all, Riot Stellari wrote a post about skin bios. And especially to us, skin bios are quite important because they expand the alternative universes of League. And this post revealed Riot's philosophy when it comes to skin bios in client. These bios started coming out 2 years ago, when Riot overhauled the collection tab. The collection tab served as a neat tool for people who like to collect things. But Riot also realized that they could use it to tell the canon story of these alternative universes. That's why some of the bigger universes also have the overall story written above the skins. A nice bonus is that this system could tell people which skins took place in the same universe. For example, project and program skins are in the same world. However, here comes the important thing. We should always consider the majority of skins as just skins with some flavor text. It would be impossible to turn every single skin into an alternative universe. And so, we should only consider what we can find on Universe, a canon alternative universe. Everything else has nothing but flavor text to set up what the skin is meant to represent. Which means that from now on, only new skins will get story descriptions. Old ones will be updated only if they become a part of a bigger universe. With that said, remember that Riot can always take one of the older skin lines and turn them into a brand new world. In fact, that already happened before. The High Noon skin line was turned from a joke into a demon-infested western world. So now if you want to know which skin lines are considered absolutely canon, it is High Noon, Project, Star Guardian, Odyssey, Blood Moon and KDA. But even though these are the main universes, skins such as the fantasy line still have a pretty good story, but those are still technically just flavor texts. Also, I might have missed some of the main universes, so if you guys remember something I don't, feel free to tell me below. While I was editing this video, Riot released 3 new skins for a PvE preview, which means that I'll have to slap them here, to the middle of the video and ruin the entire structure of it. Anyway, here are the 3 new skins. First there is Darkstar Karma, that has a really cool recoil animation. Darkstar Shaco that came out of nowhere. Remember that Riot prefers releasing skins for popular champions, so having a mediocre champion with the most popular skin theme is madness. But most importantly, we also got Darkstar Jhin, who not only looks absolutely fantastic, he also reveals the universe inside the cone drawn by his ultimate. It's absolutely stunning. We don't have their splash art yet, but let's be honest, this is probably one of the cases where the champion in-game will look better than the art. And now, back to my past self and the rest of the video. And now the last post before we finally get to Mordekaiser. If you're a fan of LoL Esports, you probably know that Riot has a new way to monetize it. They call it the Team Pass and Fan Pass, and it will arrive on the 31st of May. Yes, we are getting even more passes. It probably doesn't matter what Riot releases next. Everything is going to include a pass. Blood Moon Pass, Trials Pass, Esports Pass, Pass to log in, Pass to purchase RP. But jokes aside, these esports passes are not that bad. Riot will continue to release the free icons and emotes for simply watching esports. But the pass will give you some nice bonuses on top of it. The Fan Pass is launching in Brazil, Turkey, Latin America, Japan and Oceania. Essentially, this is going to give you a set of extra missions with rewards for playing games and watching LoL esports. The rewards include icons, an emote, a ward skin, a chroma as well as blue essence, key fragments, and 2 masterwork chests. Also, it is important to note that when you buy the pass, 50% of the revenue will go to all the teams in your region's pro league. So it is not a total cash grab on Riot's side, it actually supports the teams as well. But then there is also the Team Pass that is launching in EU and NA. These passes are focused on specific teams, so you will be able to decide which team's pass you want. But the revenue from it will still split among all the teams as far as we know. Again, the rewards include team icons, a team emote, a team ward skin, an LCS or LEC chroma as well as blue essence, key fragments, and 2 masterwork chests. So from reading this, even if you don't care about esports, if it is good, it might be worth looking into the pass for the chroma skin alone. But I understand that many of you may not be hyped for it, so it is totally okay if you skip this one. And now, Mordekaiser. Finally, not only did we get Mordekaiser revealed, but the Taiwanese league channel also accidentally leaked Mordekaiser's champion spotlight. So even though he is not on PBE as of me recording this video, we already pretty much know everything about him. Except his lore. It all started when Riot released a behind the scenes video where they went into the development process of the new Mordekaiser. At the very beginning of that video, they addressed the main issues Mordekaiser always had. There was always a massive disconnect between what he looks like and what he does. He looks like a walking iron wall, but in-game he acts like a squishy mage. Later they quickly flashed some of the concepts they were exploring. And let me tell you, I really loved this design. But this is the final design Riot ended on. And remember it very well. Remember those massive metal shoulder pads, that wide stance, that mace that could tear down walls. This design is simply amazing. And if you remember that Mordekaiser's armor is the same armor he always wore, you may realize that this is the original warplate design the Immortal Bastion produced, hundreds of years before it would even become Noxus. Maybe it was intentional that Noxus now looks like Mordekaiser's helm. Next they talked about Mordekaiser's abilities.
We looked at his entire kit very, very closely to see if there's anything we should bring forward, like the ultimate.
Mordekaiser's old ultimate was he would kind of put a debuff on a target, and if the target died while that debuff was on them, then Mordekaiser kind of captured their ghost.
He basically becomes a two-man army at that point. And though that is cool, it doesn't really fit with what somebody with a big mace wants to do. It still takes away from the thing that you want to do with him, which is to dominate people with Mordekaiser, not have Mordekaiser command someone else to dominate.
From what we have just heard, it is no surprise that Mordekaiser's ghost had to be removed. The team tried to keep that ability really hard, but in the end it just didn't make sense to keep it. However, I think that we got something even better instead. And you can only imagine my reaction when I saw this animation.
His own death realm. In terms of gameplay...
And after that, we got to see Mordekaiser in-game in his full glory. We'll go through all of his abilities in a bit, but we need to talk about his new ultimate now. Being the Lord of Death he is, he can choose a victim and bring them to the Death Realm. And while they are there, unlike what Camille or Jarvan can do, Mordekaiser and his target completely disappear from Summoner's Rift. No one will be able to see them and they will not see anyone. This is the purest form of isolation we have, since not even AoE spells will go through. The interesting thing is that the area is so large, Mordekaiser is not guaranteed to get a 1v1 kill. There will still be a fight. That's pretty much all the important things we got from this video. The last thing is that at the end they revealed his splash art, which, to be honest, could be just about the most badass art we have ever had. After this, Riot revealed his abilities on a separate site. But as I said, since the champion spotlight was accidentally released early, we can have a look at that instead. His new passive is an awesome reference to his old Q. I am probably not the only one who disliked the 3 Qs getting stronger with each hit, so this is a great alternative. Basically, after any 3 hits, be it auto attacks or abilities that hit enemies, Mordekaiser will gain his old W and some movement speed. So simply said, his old W became his passive after he hits an enemy 3 times. To make it easier for the enemy to fight Mordekaiser, you can actually see the amount of hits he has under his shield bar, although it may be possible that only Mordekaiser can see his hit count. His new Q is just a single massive hit that deals damage in an area in front of him. It also deals bonus damage if it hits only a single target. This will be useful when you're trying to duel people. His new W has incredibly confusing description, but the video made it very easy to understand. The description says that the evil overlord absorbs 25% of damage taken and damage dealt, which made me think that he can create a shield that blocks both damage taken and damage done. So it would be a great shield when you're trying to survive, but not when you are aggressive. But that is not the case and I am just retarded. What that line means is that 25% of damage taken and damage dealt is converted into the shield bar. But the shield bar doesn't become a shield until you cast the ability. When you cast it the first time, it will be turned into a shield. But you can also cast it a second time and turn 50% of the shield into a heal, giving Mordekaiser some pretty good sustain. His new E was inspired by the original AoE ability, but instead of it being in a cone in front of him, it goes out in a line. And it has a new effect of pulling everyone towards Mordekaiser. However, this ability also has a passive component. It gives Mordekaiser 25% magic penetration, which is huge. And everyone is talking about how broken it has to be. Well, trust me, it is not. Unless Riot gives Mordekaiser amazing AP scaling. The reason why he has massive magic penetration is to make sure the base damage of his abilities is good, even if he builds full tank. This could only be an issue if Riot gave Mordekaiser good AP scaling. In which case, if you go full AP, Mordekaiser is going to be broken. Lastly, his new ultimate. A nice detail I noticed is that when he goes into the Death Realm, Mordekaiser seems to wear an actual crown. And if he kills the target, he keeps the crown on his head. Either way, we already talked about his ultimate, but we didn't mention the second part of it. When he drags someone into the Death Realm, Mordekaiser also gets a portion of their stats. And if he kills the target, he will keep their stats until they respawn. This will make it easier for Mordekaiser to duel people, while hopefully it will not make him totally overpowered in his own realm. I believe the design decision here was that if you pick the more dangerous enemy, there will be a great reward if you manage to kill them. The last thing we should talk about here are the skins that were revealed at the end of the spotlight. The first one is probably Dragon Knight, because you can see his scaly hand and he looks a lot like Elder Drake. Next there is Infernal Mordekaiser, that was likely inspired by Infernal Akali. The King of Clubs Mordekaiser seems to have lost some of the detail on his mace. Originally the mace had golden details, and his white fur was much fluffier. But remember that it might actually still look good from a top-down view. Then there is Overlord Mordekaiser, which looks fine, nothing special, but to be honest the original wasn't so special either. And the last one is Pentakill. I have only one word. Disappointment. He is not actually playing Lightbringer on his guitar. How is he supposed to play that song together with Yorick in game? But besides that, it's pretty good. Obviously they can't change that skin too much, because Mordekaiser was too iconic for the band. Now, throughout this video, when you saw Mordekaiser in game, you might have noticed that something always felt off. And if you felt that way, I absolutely agree. Even though his design is great, and his voice is godly. I noticed that Mordekaiser's animations don't fit it. I'll show you his walk cycle on a loop here, and you may immediately see that these animations don't make him feel heavy. For some reason, the bounce on his shoulders make him feel more lightweight instead. When I pictured what Mordekaiser might look like in the future, I really did imagine a massive wall of iron that stomped with every step. But for some reason, this doesn't fill that expectation for me. It could be because his feet are also incredibly tiny, and at this point I really hope you remember that design, because that art looks better than what the animations show. The second issue I found are his attack animations. His attacks feel way too fast. It makes his mace seem incredibly light as well. Either Mordekaiser is simply a god, or he keeps skipping leg days and goes for arms all the time, which would explain a lot actually. Either way, I think Riot needs to slow down those swings, to make his mace feel like a really heavy mace. Right now it feels like a toy. I understand that Riot likes fast swings for clarity and readability, but Riot could also just slow down Mordekaiser's attack speed, to make his animations fit, and just ramp up his base auto attack damage instead. In fact, I think that would fit Mordekaiser really well. I don't think we have a single champion in the game that would have ridiculously slow but powerful auto attacks, and I don't see a reason why Mordekaiser couldn't be the first. Also, I really hope the thing on his new and really tiny cape is not Triforix, because that thing didn't exist until Swain dethroned Borem Darkwill, hundreds of years later. That would be quite a hilarious mistake. Hey, did you know that we have social media and Twitch where we talk about other League facts and stories? And did you know that we have neat mugs and shirts too? The links to all of that will be below. And as always, thank you, come again.